Hi, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my weekly photo chats where we talk about cameras and which ones I've used, how I like them, what are their advantages and disadvantages. Kind of a gear talk, but not about the operation, more about the usability. So today's camera is a wonderful Ebony SWF45. It's a wide angle 4x5 camera that's made to never have to fold up. It just stays like this. And then when you want to use it, you just loosen the front and back standard, and then you roll them forward and back, and you're ready to shoot your picture. It's really great for quick setup, since the lens stays on the camera when you're using it. And when you're not, it still stays on the camera. So, as you may know, Ebony is a Japanese company, and they were made with ebony wood and titanium, and it's one of the most beautiful and sought after 4x5 cameras, and everybody loves them, and you can't get a better camera, and they're so sturdy. And I have some issues with it. For one thing, it doesn't come with a handle. I put this leather handle on, and I connected it to the top of the front standard rails, which really isn't where it belongs. It really belongs back here on this piece of wood, but I'm not real good at drilling, and I don't want to put drill holes in an ebony camera, so I ended up putting it up on this rail up here, so when it's in the bag, I can lift it up out of the bag with something to hold on to. Before, I was kind of like trying to figure out a way to grab it, and it doesn't have a good handle system. And I figure people who are doing landscape work, they've got to be working with gloves at times. I don't know how they handle it. This came as a local sale. A guy was selling off his gear. He's a outdoor photographer, magazine photographer, and he wasn't shooting film anymore, and he just let this go cheap. And I was like, well, ebony isn't cheap. It could be resold for way more than what you're asking, so that's a good buy and just a reseller. But I've tried using it, and I want to like it. And I like the fact it doesn't fold up. I like the fact that it's got great leather bellows that seem like they're super supple, that they won't fold poorly or, mistakenly on you in some weird way. They're just beautiful. But the actual handling of it, I find it to be less than pleasant, like the Wajda that I talked about. It's great for that wide angle lens. I do like it. I'm a big wide angle guy, so I probably need to put it through more paces. But even like with the Wajda, where I put the film in, when you go to put the film into this, I find that the spring is a lot tighter here. This spring is a lot tighter. And for me to get film in there, I've got to be careful I don't bump the whole camera. And when this is on the same tripod that the Wajda's on, the Wajda goes on like butter. And this one I'm struggling to make sure I can get the film in without changing the framing at all, because this will tend to want to bump. And to me, that's something I wish that there was a way to loosen it. And maybe there is, I just don't know about it. But for me, this spring back is tight and tighter than I would like it to be. Can you see that? I've also shot with a Zone 6. And we'll talk about that in a future episode. It's similar. It's like the spring tensions are much greater. And maybe it's because the Wajda I have is worn out, but I don't think so. I think that they were just made with different qualities and tolerances. And maybe if you're using a super heavy-duty 30-pound tripod because you're shooting 4x5 in a lake, maybe those don't budge. But I'm using a lightweight tripod with a ball head, and I'm locking everything down, and when I go to put the film in, this camera tends to bump and the other one doesn't. So yes, I like the build quality. There's one other thing, and I talked about it last time about the Wajda. It's got that color that people say, oh, look at that. The ebony is beautiful dark wood, but it's not the color people expect. When they see this, they don't necessarily think old camera, because it's not the color that they were used to seeing in pictures when you'd see pictures of old-fashioned Kodaks from the 1900s. So this may be quite capable, and it is, for a lot of stuff, but making that connection to the person that you're going up to and going, hey, can I take your picture? It may not be as good for that. And it's just the fact that it was made with ebony wood instead of with cherry wood or rosewood. So those are like little things. You would say, of course, this is a better camera than the Wajda. It sells for a lot more, but it's, in my work and the way I use it, I find it more challenging to use. Like I said, this added strap helps me, but it's not really in the right place. And if you go to use front rise, it gets in the way of the rail. It's not ideal the way it is. But I like the idea of a camera that doesn't fold. I'm shooting it more and I'm appreciating it. It is a bright ground glass for that 75. I just wish that the tension in the back weren't so tough. And I wish it had better handling. I wish it had a better handle system, whether it had some kind of a side grip. Like right here, I'm not always sure I should be holding it like this, or whether it has some other kind of a handle put on here. Maybe I'll meet a woodworker who knows how to do that and can help me with that. But I would want to use titanium hardware. I wouldn't want to put brass hardware on it to hold the strap. So that's a quandary. Anyway, that's the Ebony SW45. Great camera, but depending on how you use it, for me, it's not as easily used as, and I'm not reaching for it as quickly as I do that Wajda DX that I talked about. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. I welcome your comments. Have you used one? Do you like it? If you can support, hit the Patreon and buy me a cup of coffee, and I'll be back next week. We'll talk about another camera, my experiences. As always, here's to good light.